I'm sure when you hear the term innovation anywhere, you're probably made to believe in its importance. For most people, innovation means providing ideas out of the blue, leading to significant discoveries and achievements. However, there's a lot more to it. 2% of the people think, 3% think they think, and 95% would rather die than think. Henry Ford. Innovation is achieved by providing something original and is often seen to produce efficiency, leading to an idea that significantly affects the general society. For example, Henry Ford was an innovator who was responsible for transforming the automobile from an invention of unknown utility into an innovation that profoundly shaped the 20th century and continues to affect our lives today. Innovators change things. They take new ideas, sometimes their own, sometimes other people, and develop and promote those ideas until they become an accepted part of daily life. In this video, you will pick up lessons from Henry Ford's innovation, vision, and overcoming failures, and how you can untap your potential. Welcome to Untapping Your Potential, where we will share with you motivational stories, motivational figures, comeback stories, and public speaking tips that will keep you growing and inspire you to take action. Born on July 30th, 1863, Greenfield Township, Michigan, an innovator named Henry Ford was born. He was one of 8 children of William and Mary Ford. He was born on the family farm near Dearborn, Michigan, then a town 8 miles west of Detroit. Early on, Ford demonstrated some of the characteristics that would make him successful, powerful, and famous. He organized other boys to build rudimentary water wheels and steam engines. He learned about full-size steam engines by becoming friends with the men who ran them. Pocket watches were the first mechanical devices to carry Henry Ford's fancy. He made his first successful repair at the age of 13, when he removed the casing on schoolmate Albert Hutchings' watch and extracted a sliver from the works. He simply wanted to know how it worked. It was a character trait that marked the rest of Ford's life. He wanted to know how things worked, and just as important, why they didn't work. He taught himself to fix watches, and used the watches as textbooks to learn the rudiments of machine design. Thus, young Ford demonstrated mechanical ability and a preference to learning by trial and error. These characteristics will become the foundation of his whole career. Ford could have followed his father's footsteps and become a farmer, but instead, he was fascinated by machines and was willing to take risks to pursue that fascination. In 1879, he left the farm to become an apprentice at the Michigan Car Company, a manufacturer of railroad cars in Detroit. And over the next 2.5 years, he held several similar jobs, sometimes moving when he thought he could learn somewhere else. And the story of Ford is filled with the ebb and flow. It was not easy for him to achieve the feat which would continue his legacy even today, making him a very celebrated business magnate globally. He returned home in 1882, but did little farming. Instead, he operated and serviced portable steam engines used by farmers. Occasionally, he worked in the factories in Detroit and cut and sold timber from 40 acres of his father's land. By now, Ford was demonstrating another characteristic, a preference for working on his own rather than for somebody else. And in 1888, Ford married Clara Bryant. In 1891, when Henry was working for Edison Illuminating Company, he decided to become an engineer, and his great work promoted him to chief engineer in 1893. Soon after, around the same time, he started trying his hands on gasoline engines. He was an apt pupil, and by 1896 had risen to chief engineer of the Illuminating Company. But he had other interests. He became one of the scores of people working in barns and small shops across the country trying to build a horseless carriage. Aided by a team of friends, his experiments culminated in 1896 with the completion of his first self-propelled vehicle, the quadricycle. It had 4 wire wheels that looked like heavy bicycle wheels, was steered with a tiller like a boat, and had only 2 forward speeds with no reverse. When Ford was 35, he designed a self-propeller motor vehicle and displayed it to the public. And in the process, he attracted the attention of William H. Murphy, a lumber baron from Detroit. A year later, in 1899, as a result of the funding, Ford opened a company called Detroit Automobile Company. However, the good days were numbered for Ford, and in 1901, the company was shut down due to the inaccuracy to pay back the loan and the poor design of the vehicle that produced undesirable results. It was a stealthy blow to Ford and his aspirations. But Ford, being Ford, he never called it quits. He had 100% trust in his vision and abilities. He negotiated with one of his partners and convinced him to give him another chance. And then finally, with great pressure from all around, it was finalized that Ford will resume his work. But soon after, the disagreements became bigger and the venture flopped, leaving Ford again nowhere to go and back to square one. Now 40 years old, he decided to give it one final shot before calling it an end of his dream. And it wasn't easy for him to start a company after two separate failures that quite frankly took a toll on him mentally and emotionally. Finally, he incorporated Ford Motor Company and even found a backer, Malcolmson, a Scottish immigrant, on the terms that he will never meddle in the business and let him handle the reins. The backer agreed to the terms and trusted Ford's vision. Afterwards, what happened has become a success story that is read by all MBA students and entrepreneurs. Ford Motors has become synonymous with the automobile sector. Ford was the first person who designed a car that any kind of family can afford. It was through his efforts that the economy of the U.S. soared, with cars everywhere and a great amount of cash flowing in the market, thus resulting in a great number of opportunities for other businesses to exist and thrive. When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. Henry Ford simply wanted to know how everything worked. It was a character trait that marked the rest of Ford's life. He wanted to know how things worked, and just as important, why they didn't work. And as an entrepreneur, Henry Ford took many calculated risks and dedicated the majority of his life toward fulfilling his goal of working with advanced machinery. In the end, his hard work and passion paid off when he eventually went on to change the automobile industry after the successful establishment of the Ford Motor Company. Here are some of the most valuable lessons you can learn from the life and legacy of Henry Ford. Have a vision. Having a dream and a vision can provide direction, boost motivation, encourage resilience, spark creativity, and foster personal growth. Vision without execution is just hallucination. Henry Ford. Of course, you don't want dreams to just stay dreams. You've always dreamed of working for a certain company or in a certain field, and you work hard to make it happen. Henry Ford had a dream. He wanted to make a car that almost anyone could afford to buy. Almost anyone could drive. And that was so simple that almost anyone could repair. He realized his dream of producing an automobile was reasonably priced, reliable, and efficient with the introduction of the Model T in 1908. This vehicle signaled a new era in personal transport. It was easy to operate, maintain, and handle in rough roads and was an immediate success. Innovate. If I had asked people what they wanted, they would say faster horses. It was clear that people wanted, and it wasn't faster horses, it was better cars with better financing options. An innovator should have understanding of one's customers and their problems via empirical, observational, anecdotal methods, and even intuition. Look for a problem that you encounter regularly in your daily life, such as a long commute or a tedious chore. Brainstorm ways to solve the problems and come up with innovative solutions that can make your life easier. Persevere and don't quit. Failure is the only opportunity more intelligently to begin again. Henry Ford. Very often you're deterred from achieving your dreams because you lack the self-confidence to do so. You often seek recognition from those who you admire, that you often forget that recognition should come from within. In order to build a successful career in life, the key ingredient is self-belief. Yes, you will encounter numerous failures and hurdles that may discourage you from attaining your goals, but when you believe that you're capable of success, it becomes easier to reach your goals. Henry Ford believed that he could change the landscape of the automobile industry, and he did. When you start believing in yourself, you are one step closer to success. Henry Ford took inspiration from the past, saw opportunities for the future, and believed in the technology as a force for improving people's lives. He had a vision, he innovated, and never quit. And if he can do it, guess what? so key. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. Henry Ford. Thanks for watching this video. How would you like to hear more motivational stories on a consistent basis? Do me a favor, support the channel by sharing, commenting below, and please make sure to like and hit that subscribe button to get the latest updates. Soon, you will be on your way to feeling inspired.